New details now emerging in the case against suspected UnitedHealthcare CEO shooter Luigi Mangione. New York police say Mangione does not appear to be a customer of that insurance company. They added the motive for this attack could be linked to the company's size. It also comes as Mangione's lawyers fight to stop an extradition to New York. CBS News correspondent Lilia Luciano has been following this case from the very beginning. She has the very latest. Lilia, do we have any updates on how the extradition process plays out from here?
Oh, well, this seems to be a bit of a dragged out process for what the state of New York, the district attorney of Manhattan, would rather have. We're talking about an extradition that, what I'm hearing from legal experts, at most could take between 30 and 45 days if they continue to contest it. But the reality is that the next time that there are hearings on either the extradition or the bail for the suspect in Pennsylvania is December 23rd and December 30th. Politically speaking, let's consider this. It's possible that in a different case, you would have the state that is trying to extradite him, the state of New York, say, let's wait for the hearings. Let's make sure that legally everything is super tied up and that we're not, going to miss anything and they're not going to have any claims or any grounds for appeal because we rushed into this. But in this case in particular, when you're talking about an extradition warrant that has to come from the governor of New York, the indictment that has to come from the Manhattan DA, which CBS News has already confirmed has started presenting evidence to a grand jury to secure that indictment. And there is a rush because this is a massive national story of a manhunt that took 6 days for a 26-year-old to evade police capture that involved multiple federal, state, and local agencies. And we're talking about the NYPD. So will Alvin Bragg and Governor Hochul sit and wait for those hearings to happen? Look, I'm no expert, but the legal experts that I've talked to have to weigh the legality versus the politics. So possibly if an indictment comes in, that might be enough of what the defense team, the judge in Pennsylvania needs to approve. And first the governor, and then after the governor of Pennsylvania, the judge needs to approve that extradition and for him to be brought to New York to face what are now second-degree murder charges. But we have learned, CBS News has learned from sources close to the NYPD, that there are conversations to increase those charges from second-degree murder to premeditated first-degree murder. And look, in any other state, in any other city, you would think, well, of course, they have so much evidence, writings, notebooks, the prior posts on sites like Goodreads, where he's justifying the writing or the philosophies of Ted Kaczynski, the suspect is. And so you might think, well, there's plenty for premeditation, but in at least this district, in at least New York and Manhattan, what I have learned is that it's very rare to charge somebody with first-degree murder. They save that for people who either kill police officers or people who kill other officials or witnesses. It's a very high bar, but CBS News has learned there are conversations to change that.
And Lilia, you also have some new details about the prison conditions for Luigi Mangione. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I was able to confirm from the Department of Corrections. I was curious about, we're covering the story from right outside that prison. Just to paint the picture, it's kind of a bizarre place. It's a very small town. I was talking to a local reporter from Huntington who was telling me we are all kind of shocked that this massive national story landed on our backyard. This is not the big maximum security prison, but he is not convicted. So he's not going to the prison like the Rikers or the big prison in Pennsylvania where other high-profile convicted people would go. He is still just a suspect, and the charges that he's facing are not murder in Pennsylvania. So there's this prison in this small town. Across from it, you have houses with all of this Christmas decoration. It all feels very bizarre. So I kept thinking, how is he doing? What's he doing? What is he looking like? Looking at, and is he interacting with other inmates? They told me, no, he's not interacting yet, doesn't get to interact with other inmates. He's not in solitary. But he is in a cell by himself. He is not under suicide watch or any psychological order, and he has not been violent Also, NYPD says he has not made any incriminating statements to investigators while he is there. So that's a little bit of what I've learned. How long he will stay there, it might be up to the governor and the district attorney of Manhattan. It might be up to a judge in Pennsylvania. We'll see how this plays out, but I'm sure we're going to be covering it next week and the weeks after.
I know you will, Lilia. You have been on top of this from the very beginning. Thank you so much for that reporting.